You're now listening to the Something Good Podcast Network. Please press any key to continue.
You don't know about the other side of the pyramid? The fifth side? It's called the floor, you dumbass. I just want to make sure he realizes there is a fifth side to the pyramid.
And once you open your fucking mind of undefeated goddamn fairness.
I know all of them, and I believe none of them, which makes me an expert. Hello, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Cryptic Conspiracy Cult. I'm Chris Morrison, and today I have two special guests.
Cristy Phillips.
And
Alex Stiff.
the one and only. So today we're going to be pairing this episode to an episode of History We Forgot, talking about the assassinations of the 60s. But this time we're going to delve in a little bit of thing called Fantasyland, where we talk about how they really were killed. So a long time ago when this show started, I sat across from Mr. Quinn Riley and we talked about JFK and the many ways that the government murdered JFK. We all know the story of Lee Harvey Oswald sat in the book suppository building facing Kennedy.
Depository building.
Depository.
You said suppository.
Hey, when there's an asshole in there, it's a
I mean,
suppository.
you're not wrong.
Lee Harvey Oswald took 3 shots at a moving target of 250 feet within 6 seconds, which is, it can be done. It's 6 seconds, guys. It's not that long. All right. With an old Springfield, with this old Italian bolt-action rifle. To quote R. Lee Ermey, he was a Marine, was able to take that shot and shoot Kennedy right through the dome and the neck, and he killed Governor and shoot Connolly as well, Governor Connolly of Texas. Ended the reign of the Kennedys.
Temporarily.
Don't worry, his dad killed a couple of them too. Look,
Don't worry, they'll be back.
When we do our 12-part series about the Kennedys and the curse that is that Irish bug, Joe Kennedy, we'll get around to it. You know, from lobotomies to plane crashes to the Special Olympics, we'll get there. But to start off, we'll talk about Kennedy because he's the funnest one.
The funnest.
It's the funnest one to talk about. It's the first conspiracy in the mainstream. Without JFK dying in Dallas, conspiracies do not hit the mainstream.
Yeah.
Before this, it was back alley barroom talk. You know, it was just like Abe Lincoln was killed by guerrilla forces from Canada. It's like, no, he was killed by John Wilkes Booth. But no, now because a president's killed live on air, basically, for
Pretty
everyone
much
to fucking see in Dallas. Not only that, there's a manhunt. A policeman gets killed. Our Patsy, Lee Harvey Oswald, gets killed the next day, 2 days later.
Live on television.
Live on television. Our only suspect and killer killed on television. So a conspiracy is formed. John Wilkes Booth, however, if you were talking about a presidential assassination, is chased in the woods by Union fucking soldiers and shot and killed at a fucking shack. You know why? Because he injured himself and he's a fucking idiot. All right, and then what happened? All his conspirators got rounded up and were hung. The end. Pretty simple kind of case, right? There's no conspiracy there, is there? Like, a group of Confederate assholes got together. John Wilkes Booth's like, I'll pull the trigger, and that's it. No conspiracy. All the conspirators of murder are hanged. Caught, tried, and hanged. Now, the problem is our guy's killed by a vigilante. A criminal named Jack Ruby. Jack Rubenstein, to be more precise. Now, let's go through some of the theories.
Let's open up this can of worms here.
All right, November of 63. It's a beautiful sunny day in Dallas. Kennedy decides to ride with the top down like a fucking idiot. Hindsight is 2020, especially in a goddamn scope.
He needed the Pope glass.
Yeah, he needed the Pope glass. But some of the things that are surrounding the conspiracies, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence.
Yes.
All right. We all know what circumstantial evidence is. It's the same shit that put Scott Peterson in prison.
Christmas fishing.
Christmas fishing. But we've all heard some of the theories. One of the theories I love, and I spoke on the last episode when we spoke about JFK, was Lee Harvey Oswald did take shots at the president and Governor Connolly. He makes contact with Kennedy and Connolly. However, my conspiracy theory that is more plausible to me is one of the Secret Service men armed with an M16, also known as an Armalite 15, popped up out of the car, took aim at the building, and the driver beside him hit the gas. The passenger goes forward, bump fires his rifle into the back of the skull of JFK. JFK's final blow, dead shot. Even though he probably would have died from the first two, the final shot came from an M16 from the car behind him. A lot of witnesses say they smelled gunpowder from the bridge, that the overpass they smelled when the cars went in. A lot of people said they saw a flash coming from behind the car, which a muzzle flash from M16 would be prominent. It's loud. If you've ever shot an AR-15, it's very loud.
Yes, it is.
The weapon they do use is brand new in 1963. The M16 isn't really in service that much. It is a brand new rifle. That rifle was retired the next week. For some reason, they retired a Secret Serviceman's rifle right after a president's shot. A perfectly good rifle. There's no rhyme or reason why this gun would be retired. It was able to be fired. It was still working order. The gun has now disappeared since. This is circumstantial evidence for a conspiracy. This is my favorite one because it's my favorite conspiracy about our government. They're just fucking dumb. They're not a cabal of evil lizard geniuses. They're just people who are just terrible at their job because we have all worked a job where terrible people succeed somehow. And
I'm currently in one now.
But we've all worked in a place where those people really fuck up some shit. Mm-hmm. And we've seen it live. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that a Secret Service man, during a panic, driving through a populated area, hears gunshots, pulls his rifle, missteps because the driver hits the gas after the second shot, and bump fires his rifle into the back of the dome of a sitting U.S. president.
You kind of fucked up.
If this is true, this is the biggest oopsie daisy of any goddamn security force.
Is that what we can call it, an oopsie daisy?
Yeah, an oopsie daisy, I think, is the official nomenclature of the time.
It almost just, instead of an oopsie daisy, that just feels like a whoopsie.
Well, if it was,
I don't know. Considering it's a headshot, I think I think it should be both words.
I think oopsie daisy kind of fits 63. If it was 1954, it'd be oh hamburgers. So like,
I didn't know Butters was the assassination.
Oh hamburgers. So have you guys heard of any other conspiracies surrounding JFK's death?
You know I have.
Tell me one. Midgets did it. Homosexuals did it. Homosexuals did it is the funniest one. Because that's the one Kevin Costner pushed with Oliver Stone.
Yeah, that's the movie. Go ahead, Alex.
No, I was going to say, I really haven't heard any specific theories other than it was an inside job. That was the only things I really heard. I was there. Not literally,
I was there.
I was there that day.
You were on the grassy knoll.
Yes!
We found him!
After the fact.
I was at the grassy knoll. I was in a tent waiting for 1977 to come around so I could go see Star Wars. I was waiting. I had my DeLorean time machine.
Damn right.
And I had a fucking pound of Colombian Bam Bam stuffed in the trunk to get me back to 2024.
Why do you think I'm ready for this shit?
Hell yeah.
No,
Episode 1's coming.
It's gonna be fucking huge and the kids aren't ready for it. No, I was actually at the grassy knoll, and there was a guy like with the fucking pamphlets, fucking just trying to preach the good word on how it was an inside job, and that he was not assassinated in the fucking towers. All this other shit. It all fell on deaf ears, mainly because we decided after we visited the grassy knoll we were just going to drive down the road. So we also drove down the road rather slow like.
Yeah, I would have to.
I would rent a convertible just so I could sit in the back and be like, back and to the left, back and to the left. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it, guys. I think it's wrong.
I've got my photos and video from that day. I'll have to dig them out.
I would love a pamphlet.
I know, right? I should have grabbed one.
One of those conspiracy.
I didn't
pamphlets.
want to get wrapped up in the fucking conversation, though.
The conspiracy pamphlets I think are the best because you can go to a gun show and get like a bunch of those.
Oh yeah,
especially like Ruby Ridge and Waco and all that shit.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I got a lot to say about fucking Ruby Ridge after reading those 2 books by that condescending asshole.
Yep.
But anyway. Tell us about how the government reptilians killed JFK.
I don't have the reptilians, but I do have... Oh, you do have the video.
Mm-hmm. I found it. It was actually on my Instagram. I thought I had buried it.
Back and to the left.
Well, because I clean out my Instagram all the time, so I just thought that was like one of the many things that I had just wound up deleting over time.
Send his Instagram back and to the left.
No, he wisely didn't put anything.
Yeah. I didn't put any captions on it. Actually, I put hashtag Texas is the reason for one of them for an old Misfits reference.
The one that I heard, of course, is Inside Job and Inside Job plus Cuba and
the Mafia.
And the Mafia.
It's a cabal of the CIA, Mafia from Chicago, communist Cubans somehow created this Avengers-level threat to shoot a guy with the top down in Dallas.
Yeah.
Somehow.
It
was the Winter Soldier.
And you can fielder's choice with whether or not Lee Harvey Oswald was actually involved or not.
Yeah, so...
In the ones that I've heard.
Yeah, every version, any conspiracy I've heard, it's always been led with, he didn't actually do it.
So there's a lot of misnomer facts when it comes to the conspiracy of Oswald.
Yeah.
Oswald is a troll of a human being.
Yes.
Before the internet, there was Lee Harvey Oswald, the first troll.
You're not wrong.
He's very contrarian. Mm-hmm. This man was in the Marines. He knew how to fire a rifle. He did know how to scope his rifle. The myth that he couldn't shoot is ridiculous.
Where did that come from?
It became, all right, so during the trial process in the movie JFK, the real story of the lawyer who tried to prove a conspiracy happened, had put forth that Lee Harvey Oswald was a bad Marine. But when you say the term bad Marine, people think he's physically incapable, he can't fire a rifle. He's a bad Marine because he was an ardent communist.
Yep.
And talked shit about America. So I can't have that as someone defending America. Obviously the bad guys to America in the 50s were the communists. So yeah, he made a bad Marine. But that didn't mean he wasn't capable of being a Marine.
Right.
Okay. He was shipped overseas. He made it past boot camp. Part of boot camp is learning how to fire a rifle. Very well, by the way, if you're a Marine.
Yeah.
Okay. So he was more than capable of firing a bolt action rifle at 250 fucking feet at a moving target. Because 250 feet, if you're shooting guns, isn't that goddamn far.
Right.
All right. You take a basic rifle, no matter what kind, and you could sight that shit with iron sights. We could do this tomorrow and get it down by 2 hours.
Probably less, considering both you and I have experience.
But if I take someone like you who doesn't have a lot of rifle experience, within 2 hours I can get you to sight a gun in pretty well.
Probably, yeah.
Moving targets, maybe another day. But what they're doing back then is 500 yards, 1,000 yards. And moving targets is just leading a target.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They learned how to do this. This is military training. So he had basic military training as a Marine. All right. So that gets rid of the circumstantial evidence that he was incapable of shooting a man in a car with the top down on the sunny fucking day. The reason I'm emotional about this is because this is why we let people talk with this confidence that they know what the fuck they're talking, and they don't. I've seen enough History Channel to tell me that aliens built the pyramids when I know that shut the fuck up, people built them.
Yes.
Because that's the best way to stack
aliens
rocks.
are people too, Chris.
Sure, in Mexico. In southern Texas.
Chrissy?
He ain't wrong.
So
You were making a face like you wanted to fuss at him.
but like,
Nope, he ain't wrong.
but another part of it is, did the mob hate JFK? Yes.
Yes.
Why did they hate JFK? Because
His brother.
Robert Kennedy.
Is a moron.
Robert Kennedy went after La Costa Nostra, the mafia, through the criminal justice system, because Kennedy hired his brother to be part of the justice system.
And didn't think there'd be any repercussions.
Yeah, called nepotism. It's almost like if you're president, your kids shouldn't be in the goddamn White House doing shit.
Huh.
Other than sleeping and eating and fucking. Like
Maybe not that last one.
I don't know, how old are your kids? But
That's
like,
what I'm saying. Maybe not that last one.
But like,
Well, we will presume they're all at least, 18.
Motel 6.
yeah, well, Gerald Ford's daughter hung out with Grace Slick in the fucking White House. So,
Grace Slick should have been in the White House.
well, there's a funny story about her and trying to drug a president.
That's like I said.
But,
she should have been in the White House.
But Jefferson Starship is pretty fucking metal.
They are.
But
They still don't concede.
but another part is the communists of Cuba. There are a large influx of Cubans from Florida who have immigrated to Florida because of the American policy of fleeing Cubans from a communist country. We take them in as refugees.
Yes.
This is still a policy today.
Yes.
It's not as big as the Mexican border, but it's still a policy today. Still stands. No one's going to change it. If I tell you that the guy we found that shot JFK was running, ran into a police officer, got into a skirmish, and shot him, and then was found in a movie theater trying to play dumb, logically, yeah, that would kind of make sense, because if I just killed the president and a cop bothers me, I'm going to assume he knows something. And I can't have him putting fucking cuffs on me, so I shoot him twice in the fucking stomach. And I take off, because now I've done something else that you can't do in Texas, is shoot a fucking cop.
So here's the initial question, though. So I was kind of sitting here, because, again, this is the first time I'm really hearing any of these specific conspiracies. How is the potential little pop to the head with that handgun or the AR, why would, with the decommissioning of that, why is that a possible conspiracy? That seems like kind of maybe the missing link. Like, that actually makes sense.
Because it's circumstantial evidence. That's the great thing about circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence makes sense.
Right.
It makes sense that a guy would kill his pregnant wife on a boat in the middle of goddamn Christmas, don't it? Not really, but it's circumstantial fucking evidence.
It would, but now it would. Now, here's what makes it circumstantial.
Right.
That does not make any sense at all. But it would if I told you that he had a mistress who was half her size and twice younger than her.
Right.
And he's been losing a whole bunch of weight, and all of a sudden he's looking a whole lot better. And then all of a sudden you find out, oh, she's pregnant, and they already got a kid. And he's probably kind of got a wandering eye. And Nancy Grace all of a sudden gets on her show and says, well, he had to have done it.
Yeah.
He's looking for a mistress. He's trying to get out. And he doesn't want to get a divorce because she's going to take half of everything he has.
The great thing about conspiracy is it builds on so much circumstantial evidence, you forget what you're listening to.
Right.
Happenstance. We've convicted people and put needles in their fucking arms for less.
Yep.
All right. So when we talk about conspiracy, we have to look at what facts we do have and separate it from the circumstantial evidence. The conspiracy the Secret Service shot him is hilarious. But it's also terrifying that the Secret Service did the exact opposite of their fucking mission statement, which is protect the fucking president. That's their mission. And honestly, if you look at the streak of the Secret Service, it's bad. A lot of presidents have died and got shot because they suck at their job.
Well, I mean, not long ago we figured out that they were they all messed around and got drunk and high and were picking up hookers and stuff not too long ago.
Yeah, during the Obama administration, the Secret Service get tired of traveling a lot, start fucking snorting coke, drinking a little bit, and having a little bit of pussy on the side. And then for some reason, a random fucking stranger walks up to the White House and almost makes inside. That's a fact. That happened in the Obama administration. A man lit himself on fire during the Trump administration.
Yep.
And no one noticed him walking that close to not only the national monuments, but other congressional members. There were House members out there without the Secret Service, just wandering around without security. And this guy self-emulates. If he had decided to throw that gas on people and start lighting motherfuckers on fire.
Or run up and grab somebody while he was already lit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So the Secret Service, I hope they're listening to this, suck at their fucking job. Okay?
I feel like they are now.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Yeah. Hey, Tim. Remember me? Remember me? All that shit I looked up? Yeah, I'm still looking it up.
I only looked it up because I'm a history teacher, I promise.
I have no excuse.
But another thing is, we talk about context a lot, is think about what's going on in the 60s.
Oh, God.
From 1959 to 1963, I have this second generation Irish American as president. Okay? I have the president before him was the general of the fucking world. Eisenhower ran the world for about 5 fucking years.
A war hero, quote, quote.
Destroyed civilizations and was honored for it and became president later on. So we go from that to this guy who is also technically a war hero. JFK is technically a war hero.
Yes.
I love how you're just like, technically.
Well,
I wasn't there.
It's not for the same reason.
But this man is now murdered because half the country hates the other half.
Yes.
All right, we are divided now as a nation. But not as bad as 1963. Okay?
No, we were Vietnam divided.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother animal.
That's imagine like, hey, post 9/11, well, we shouldn't go to Afghanistan. What the fuck did you just say? We're going to turn that goddamn place into glass. Like, that's the kind of mentality people had. You had people that were disillusioned by war. You had hippies, disgusting hippies, that were just roaming around free, running their fucking mouth and shit.
Shooting off their toes so they didn't have to go.
Yeah, or having bone spurs or some stupid shit.
Yeah, I have a bone spur. Don't say that.
Well, you and Trump now have something in common. Yeah, wiped a smile off your face, didn't I? But with your conspiracies about killing this man, he had plenty of enemies.
Oh, yeah.
But now our main guy who should have went on trial for murdering the president, Lee Harvey Oswald,
is dead. As 4 o'clock.
And coincidentally, guess what? When he got shot, he went to the same fucking hospital that they took JFK to.
Yep.
To the operating room adjacent to where he would have bleed out.
Yep.
There were surgeons there saying, fuck that guy, let him bleed to death.
Yep.
That's what they said when they brought, hey, we got Lee Harvey Oswald coming to the gunshot. Oh, that's just too fucking bad, ain't it?
I mean, what would you say?
Yeah, like you had
Hippocratic
nurses.
oath.
You had the nurses there.
It sounds pretty hypocritical to me.
I mean,
they take him to the hospital near Left Field, and the nurses there are just like, don't put him in that OR. That's where JFK was.
Yeah.
Fuck that. No, you take him to this other one. And it was still dirty. It was unclean by then. But guess what? He still bled out and died.
yeah.
Because he took a pick sticker to the fucking stomach, a little 38, pop. Right.
Well, that and it took him forever to put him in the ambulance.
Well, he was handcuffed to it, dude. And he was screaming like a bitch. Like,
Well, and
I'm a Betsy. I'm a goddamn Betsy.
no, he wasn't screaming. He didn't say a word.
Ah, goddamn fucking shooter.
That he might have said.
Oh, Katie. Let's jump my buddy Charlie. Goddamn Empire scum. But so now your main guy that you're going to try for a crime to settle the matter,
The only witness.
the only witness and the only perpetrator suspect is now dead.
He gone.
He's dead. Now, how does that look?
Questionable AF.
Questionable AF, as the kids say. But now I got a nationwide conspiracy brewing. Well, maybe he had ties to communists. Well, he did have ties to communists. Well, maybe he had ties to Dixiecrats who wanted to kill the president because back then a racial contingent was being formed. Mm-hmm. Okay. And now the 60s is filled with assassinations of civil rights leaders.
Yes.
When we'll talk about it here in a second.
Yep.
But when it comes to the biggest one, it's always going to be JFK.
Yes.
A sitting president murdered on U.S. soil by a U.S. fucking citizen. Granted, may not be on the up and up, but murdered by one of his own. How fucked up is that?
Yeah.
John Wilkes Booth wasn't part of the United States. He's part of the Confederacy. He's the enemy by any other name.
Yeah.
All right. McKinley is shot later on by a fucking anarchist.
Yeah.
A guy who wants to overthrow the government. An immigrant. That's another president who gets shot. But there's no conspiracy around it because they know that he was nuts, got too close, and plugged him in the fucking stomach.
Yeah.
Okay, no conspiracy. But with JFK, you're like, well, my friend was there, and they said they heard flashes coming from, or saw flashes of gunshots coming from this building. Mm-hmm. Or there's a guy over by that fence and tree over there, the grassy knoll. Oh, yeah, I saw flashes there, too.
There's a guy over here by the overpass that got struck by shrapnel.
Yeah. So now you have too many people talking and just filling the air with bullshit. And this is how like major conspiracies go from little conspiracies to overblown shit. And while we're talking about it in 2024.
I was going to say, that just sounds like podcasts.
Yeah.
We're contributing.
Yeah.
We're helping.
We're helping. Because everybody knows. So despite my theory that the government shot him by accident, we all know that his head just did that.
His head just did that.
Yeah, so there is a phenomenon where your head just explodes. It's a 1 in 10 billion shot. I mean, it's barely talked about.
Yeah, shot.
Yeah. A fun fact. Meriwether Lewis of Lewis and Clark, his head had just blown the fuck out. He may or may not have shot himself twice in the back of the head with a musket ball.
Maybe.
Sometimes Kurt Cobain misses. I'm just saying. Like, just saying.
Kurt Cobain.
Hey guys, watch my tutorial DIY how to paint the ceiling. Quick, easy step. DIY with Nirvana. Come as you are, if you know what I mean.
Come as you are, no experience
There's so
required.
many fun jokes about making it. And enough time has passed. I think it's okay. I think we can all say.
Well, he never made it as a contractor because he tried to plant a house and build a tree.
Yeah.
He's dying over here.
Hey, Courtney, come in here. I got a real banger to let you listen to. It's a new song.
I heard it's a blast.
Courtney don't miss. I'm just saying.
It's a graveyard smash.
Have you seen the autopsy reports yet?
I didn't need to see him. I already know what I think happened.
Well, now we have proof of what happened.
Courtney happened.
It would have been funny if it's like a happenstance kind of thing. Just like a joke gone wrong, like a practical thing. Just some practical jokes. Like, I'm tired of your shit, bitch. I'm just going to blow my fucking brain. Yeah, go ahead and fucking do it. He's just fucking with her. And he's just like, click, boom. And she's like, oh my fucking God. Just, like slapstick funny.
Yeah.
Like vaudeville.
It's like a Looney Tunes episode.
Yeah, Bugs Bunny.
Why are you on a...
It's rabbit season. It's Nirvana season.
It's rabbit season. Kurt season. Rabbit season. Kurt season.
Oy vey.
But some of the other conspiracies involved in that is the man on the grassy knoll, the secondary shooter.
Yep.
On top of that, a mysterious third shooter, and it's just like if you let's say
there's always another.
Let's say you start listening to these conspiracies and you start giving them credence. By the time you're done listening to an hour of this bullshit, you're going to be like, God damn, Dallas is a goddamn sniper's paradise. Jesus fucking Christ. He was in the cross section of 36 separate shooters. There was no way he would have survived. Jesus Christ.
The only thing that here's the thing with me.
It was the reptilians.
No. don't believe in the reptilians.
The reptilians, folks, if you ever hear me bring
So
it
you
up.
don't believe in Hillary Clinton?
Hillary Clinton isn't a reptilian, but she does eat babies.
Yeah, reptilian. You don't believe in reptilians, yet Mark Zuckerberg exists.
Mark Zuckerberg is a robot.
A reptilian
I
robot.
don't care about the uber rich people. I don't care.
Well, they don't care about you either, so at least pay
Exactly.
attention.
Exactly. They don't care about me. I don't care about them. What difference does it make?
Before we go on this, I want to say this. People, if you're looking into a conspiracy and the word reptilian comes up,
I'm just saying.
that is a euphemism for Jews. That's all it is. It's always as soon as the word rep comes out of their fucking mouth, there are 4 or 5 paragraphs and manifestos from saying the Jews did it. That's how much bullshit is allowed to be spoken by these goddamn people. And the internet did it. The internet let them do it. Just like Scientology got taken down by the internet. The fucking internet let these conspiracy motherfuckers run amok. That's why I love doing this show. Because they're all a bunch of anti-Semitic assholes who just talk in a circle.
As a history teacher and a attempting Holocaust educator, I will also tell you that it would scare the daylights out of you to know just how far 99.99999%.
9999.
Stop it! I've already threatened to hit you with a shoe one time.
Check out Couch Potatoes for that episode.
Yes. Almost all of it, just like he said, almost all of it is some roots in anti-Semitism. But anything, the anti-Semitism prior to the build-up to this is almost terrifying too. Because conspiracies of all kinds can be traced back to anti-Semitism, and it's damn near terrifying. That being said, my thing with the JFK conspiracy that kills me.
And kills him.
I walked into that.
Splitting headache.
I walked into that. I really did.
Let's go for a drive then, bitch, so you'll shut the fuck up.
She did.
He's just sitting there waving at everyone. Fucking shoot me. Well, that was.
I can go with all the different explanations that I have been told. I can go with all of that stuff. The only thing that I look at and I go, that is such a crock, is the stupid theory that only 3 bullets were fired.
Yeah.
That is garbage. I don't care what theory. I will not accept the reptilians. Any other theory that you throw at me, I will take.
Reptilians.
Except that one. There's no way it was only 3 shots.
So, when it comes to Oswald, it would have been 3 shots.
I could buy that.
So, the circumstantial evidence is that the people with their backs to the grassy knoll said they heard gunshots from behind. You've been in the area. It is a oddly shaped area.
Yes, it is.
Where
I've seen maps.
an echo effect could happen from a high point vantage down low.
Yeah.
And the sound of a rifle isn't quite as much different as it is from a large speaker or amp. It reverberates out a certain way.
Yeah.
But it also can be directionalized with the barrel itself, because just a large influx of air shooting out of a small vessel.
Yeah.
So what I believe happened is they're hearing a echo effect during the 6 or 7 seconds the gun is being fired. So what they're hearing is pop, pop, pop. But what they're really hearing is pop, 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 pop. I think the people in the grassy knoll heard when they hit the ground after the first shot, they're hearing the echo effect of the first 2 shots, and they're saying, "Oh, I heard 6." And this is where people get the timeline mixed up. A lot of people confuse that. Oh, he got 3 shots off in 6 seconds. No, he got them off in 10 seconds.
Yeah, that I could buy.
Okay, if you take the first time JFK goes down and you start the timer. His head goes down. The driver taps his head to the side mirror because now he's looking for the guy behind him. it's 10 seconds. And then it's boom, his head goes down. He leans down. And his head goes back.
Yeah.
Now, the joke that is ballistics, it is never 100% science. Just like a lie detector, it is not 100% science. The fact that there's like, his head wouldn't have done that, yes, it would have. It could. It's a fucking bullet.
Yeah.
A bullet will do whatever the fuck it wants to. You can try it all day long, and guess what? I bet that 1 in 10,000. I guess guess what? It's gonna fucking shoot his head backwards.
We learned that from MythBusters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But another part of this is the conjecture is 3 shots in 6 seconds. No, it's 10 seconds. That's the fact of the matter.
Mm-hmm.
Another fact of the matter is, well, it's an old Italian rifle. He had to pull the bolt back constant, like so fast, like boom, boom. Boom. No. His wife and his neighbors confirmed that Oswald would sit on his porch with that same fucking rifle and do something called, what term we have when gun culture is finger fuck a rifle, is he would sit there and pull the bolt back constantly. So you know what he's doing? He's carrying a muscle memory. Mm-hmm. So now I got a guy who has a muscle memory of pulling the bolt back of a real old rifle. Whether it's an old Italian bullshit rifle, doesn't matter. He now has the ability to make it shoot faster because it's just practice. Mm-hmm. You know where you learn that? The fucking Marines.
Yeah.
Practice makes perfect. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice. How do you kill a president? Fucking practice. So there is a lot of circumstantial evidence of another shooter, of the government Secret Service shooting him in the back of the fucking skull. Another one, which is more fantastical, is the driver shot him, which I love that one too, because it's just like,
I have video proof of that not happening.
Yeah, like, can you imagine? You're driving the president, the governor is beside you in a full top-down vehicle, and while people are beside you on all sides looking at you and the president, you just turn around and go, bop, and blow his fucking head off? Yeah. Are you fucking insane?
Yeah, nobody would see that.
No.
This is when you start getting into those deep Reddit forums that give you like special websites. Like one of them, a great conspiracy website is Bibliotheca Pleiades, which is the conspiracy website. You like the Heaven's Gate website, green font on black paper. They were the first one. If you want to learn how the aliens built the pyramids and how Henry Ford is a reptile, that's the website to fucking go to.
He wasn't a reptile. He was just a Nazi.
Yeah.
See, the reptilians are real.
He
wasn't a reptile.
He wasn't a Nazi. He wasn't a Nazi. He was just an asshole.
Well, he was a sympathizer.
Well, a lot of people sympathize with him. I like donuts too, just like the Germans. Sometimes they have good ideas.
I like Puma.
Yeah.
Fanta's a pretty good drink.
Hey, they're all bad people, but goddamn, a VW, that's a pretty real milk car.
Pretty good.
German people made those things, not the Nazis.
Not all Nazis are German, but all Germans are Nazis. How does that saying go? I don't know. I can't say. All Irish people love potatoes. All potatoes kill Irish people. However the saying goes.
Y'all send bail money.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking about our Kraut Mick friends.
Hey, I'm Scotch Irish. I don't give a fuck.
You're a bottle of J&B from eating potatoes too.
There you go. I'm Scotch Irish and German. All we do is drink, fight, and fuck.
Don't talk.
The fighting part you're bad at.
I didn't say we were good. I said we did it.
You have seen my family, both sides. You have seen the Irish side and the Nordic side. Don't.
But
he heard the Nords and immediately went away.
Yeah,
that's mom.
Yeah, once you're 6'2", eyes are blue, no one really gives a shit. But with the context of JFK, what else is going on at the time?
Vietnam War.
You have the Vietnam War. You have the Civil Rights Act. Mm-hmm. You have the push of the Civil Rights Act. It's not quite there yet. But you also have a couple other people dying of assassinations. As we move on from JFK and the conspiracy of that, You have one that isn't a conspiracy, but is still a prevalent murder, the murder of Medgar Evers.
Yes.
Who was shot in his own driveway in front of his wife.
And kids.
We know this isn't a conspiracy. The only conspiracy part of it is the killer got let go in the beginning. But he was finally charged and found guilty.
In the 90s.
But as justice is slow,
yes,
we do know
is.
that isn't a conspiracy, that there wasn't multiple shooters. This man followed this man home, trailed into the woods, pulled out a rifle, waited for him to get out of his car, and shot him to death. There is no conspiracy there, period. But goddamn the rest. However, the fucking rest of the people that got shot in the 60s, Jesus Christ. I'm pretty sure Ted Cruz did it, but like, Ted Cruz's daddy killed JFK. That's the other one. Or Prescott Bush, the grandfather of George Bush, is my other one. The Bush family has killed so many people. But the next one is something you're a little bit more prevalent on. The murder of Malcolm X.
Yes.
Let's go into that. Facts.
So,
let's go into the baseline facts.
Baseline facts. Malcolm X joined the Nation of Islam after serving 10 years in jail for a myriad of crimes, selling drugs, dealing drugs, steering women for pimps, assault and battery, breaking and entering, the usual. And then, of course, resisting arrest.
No.
Violence against cops, the usual. So he goes to jail.
No.
And
Really?
then, while he's there,
This story is just full of all sorts of twists and turns.
Yeah, while he's there,
Spinning bullets and shit.
Yeah, he encounters the Nation of Islam, and it makes complete sense to him. He totally agrees with it. He likes it, and
I like what you guys are selling.
Yeah,
I like the cut of your jib, boy.
yeah. So when he
take
gets
the boy off that one.
when he gets out of jail, he goes immediately to Chicago and meets the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and joins up with them, and he eventually opens up a mosque in Harlem. And then he later ends up opening up one in LA from scratch. And the Nation of Islam goes from a somewhat unheard of thing to being an overnight sensation in Harlem and LA.
Real quick, because we're the cryptic conspiracy cult, I would be remiss not to mention the Nation of Islam and one of their core beliefs that white people were created by a Dr. Satan character.
Yes.
And that's why we cannot be trusted.
Gotcha.
So there is a little bit of science in their little religion.
Yes.
It is a very race-based religion.
It is. It is very...
Like the Mormons before 1973.
It is also very...
intense.
Yes. Malcolm X believes he's very anti Martin Luther King Jr. in that so much that he basically attacks Martin Luther King Jr. on everything that he believes. He is very loud and proud about sit-ins and turn the other cheek and all that kind of thing is pointless and will not do anything, and that violence should be met with violence because the idea is that we've been complicit and quiet for over 400 years, so it's time to treat a slap for a slap, and that's the only thing the angry white man understands.
It was created by most likely a Jewish doctor from hell.
So
that's throwing that out there. That the white man is the devil.
Yeah.
Not much has changed. The white man is still the devil, from what I hear every day.
I think that's just mainly geared toward you, though.
Yeah, I have been called a white devil in malice, and I was like, well,
it was because you weren't selling that lady her cigarettes.
Well, it's almost like a badge of honor. It was a term of endearment, I think. Right up there with Cracker and Honky. Or Old Fang. One of the old ones. Anyway.
Well, I wear that. You can wear that like a badge of honor while I wear well, you were ugly anyway. I wear that one with a badge of honor, too. You flirted with me for over an hour, but you're ugly anyway. Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't what you were saying, but anyway. So
Malcolm X says, fuck Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King's like, chill.
yeah. And he's like, nah. So, JFK dies. And Malcolm X had been talking cash junk about JFK. He was basically saying that...
Come outside, how about that?
Pretty much. He was basically saying that JFK was not doing anything to help anybody. And then when JFK dies, Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, you are going to sit down and keep your whole mouth shut because this is our president. We don't care how much you didn't like him. You're going to sit down and be quiet. Because everybody in the world is crying right now because our president's dead. Malcolm X says, you're right. I'm not going to say a word. I'm just going to go over here and have my little meeting. He goes, has his little meeting. Somebody in the audience stands up and says, would you care to comment about the assassination of JFK? So he stands up and he says the most southern thing that somebody can say, which is, the instance of JFK being assassinated is an instance of the chickens coming home to roost. And I, as an old farm boy, love it when the chickens come home to roost. So he was basically saying that the violence that had been inherited in the system finally came back against somebody who ran the system, and he thought that was great. So then everybody accused him of being excited that the president got assassinated. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad basically kicked him out for a little while and told him he wasn't allowed to represent anybody and he wasn't allowed to speak. He goes and makes friends with Muhammad Ali. And then he says, hey, if I can make friends with Muhammad Ali, who's already studying Islam, and bring him into to be friends with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam, they'll let me back in. While this is happening, he doesn't know that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's talking to him on the down low. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad pretty much pulls him out from under and he says, we can be friends, but you can't be friends with Malcolm. You got to make a decision. Mm-hmm. Muhammad Ali picks the Nation of Islam. And Malcolm has no friends and he's out by himself. Where he then decides he's going to try to be better and soften his image. He goes to Martin Luther King Jr. and talks to him. And he basically says, you know, things are rough in the world right now. We should all talk and try to do better. And he is... things get rough with the Nation of Islam. He's not speaking very highly of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Don't say.
Yeah, he starts talking about the fact that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's having an affair with a couple of teenage girls, and they're pregnant by him, and all this. His house gets firebombed.
I'm calling my buddy Maury Povich.
Yep.
He's going to investigate this. Maury's on the up and up.
Yeah. Nobody gets hurt in the firebombing, but his wife and kids have nowhere to live. A couple weeks after the firebombing happens, he goes to have a program or a meeting. And he goes into the Audubon Ballroom. And he stands up at the podium. He gives the greeting. And a little skirmish breaks out, which is just enough to direct all of his security to go to try to see what this little skirmish is about. 5 people stand up. One of them carrying a sawed-off shotgun, 2 others carrying handguns, and they shoot him in front of all these people and his wife and kids. All of them manage to escape except one shooter who gets shot by one of Malcolm's security. They catch him outside where they almost beat him to death till the cops get there. And Malcolm later dies at the hospital. Later on, 2 other men who were supposedly there get brought in later, and all 3 of them go to trial. And then my favorite thing about this trial is the one guy that they actually catch, who says he did it, admits to doing it, says, yes, I shot him. I meant to do it on purpose. In respect for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I shot him and I admitted I shot him. But the other 2 guys weren't even there. They had nothing to do with this, and they said they had nothing to do with it. New York City judge says, Well, what we're going to do is we're going to use the same evidence for you that we will for both of them and try you all three together.
Oh, wow.
So all three of them go to jail.
Yeah.
The Talmadge Hayer, the shooter, dies in jail. The other one, I can't remember his name, he dies right before he gets out. The last one, Muhammad Aziz, just recently got paroled in the last 10 years, I believe. And he just recently got his evidence, and the Innocence Project just got through to help him in the last year. This is 2024, by the way. Just recently came through in this last year and cleared his name and said that he had absolutely nothing to do with it.
Wow. So, Chris, what's your conspiracy?
Well, you see.
Every good one starts with, will you see?
Yup.
Well, you see. 4 of those undeniable shooters were in blackface. Now, that sounds a little racist. Because it fucking is. And it's the dumbest fucking conspiracy that I heard. White people in blackface shot fucking Malcolm X. No. My belief in the conspiracy of the Nation of Islam hired killers to distract his security while 2 others took aim and killed Malcolm X.
Yes.
That's what I believed happened, because the Nation of Islam at that point was digressing into terrorism, active violent terrorism. I do believe the man that was arrested and who died in jail did kill him.
Talmadge Hayer. He admitted it.
Yeah. So I believe he was not a patsy. He was a trained killer who went there to do a job in the name of the Nation of Islam. However, I believe the Nation of Islam also contacted the government to tell them about a militant figure within their organization who they believed was a threat to America. They were able to make adjustments to the scene to create 2 extra patsies to distract you from the fact that our main killer died in prison, who knew his accomplices. So there are people who were there. Eyewitness testimony is iffy, always iffy, because you're in a panic state.
Yeah.
You know, you see someone pop up with a gun, you trying to recollect that, it's going to be very hard. I don't care who you are. Yeah. So we get reports that it's 5 guys. It could have been 4. Could have been 2 guys tussling and 1 guy with a shotgun and a pistol.
Well, they only found 3 guns on the scene.
Yeah. So it could have been, they didn't say if it was a pump shotgun. I believe it was a double barrel.
It was.
He pulls out a double barrel, both barrels, drops it, pulls a pistol, pop, pop, pop. Guess what? There's a bunch of people up there already. So what looks like 5 people standing up to shoot a man can really be just 1 guy taking advantage of a very bad situation. And Malcolm X, being the guy that he was, does come out from the podium to address the audience and say, hey, chill out, you know, and also all certain terms. Hey, what's going on, guys? Brothers. And that's what kills him.
Yeah.
They killed him using his own people against him.
Yes.
And that is the most vicious part of the Malcolm X thing. All the conspiracy aside, he was killed by the Nation of Islam.
I agree.
That is conspiracy. That is a conspiracy I believe in. One of the few I believe in, but that is one. But I don't believe there were 4 extra guys there just to kill Malcolm X.
Yeah.
I believe it was probably 1 or 2 who were there to bring the guns, 1 to shoot the guns, and the other guys were just there to make a distraction. They had no idea. They can say plausible deniability. A guy hired me to start a fight. Maybe he hired me to start a fight and cause a riot, which would ruin the image of Malcolm X. That is very plausible.
Or just cause the event to be called off.
Yeah. If I want to create a distraction, I'd give a couple guys some money, because guess what? They probably don't fucking have it. And, hey, man, I need you to start a little fight in the front row.
Okay.
Well, why do you need that? Just, do you want the money or not?
Yeah.
Well, okay. At the lowest end of this, Malcolm X doesn't die. A riot breaks out, and his reputation's ruined because he can't keep a group of people together and calm.
Yeah.
That ruins his reputation. And cops are called in. And when cops are called in, people die. Especially civil rights people die. Mm-hmm. So, at the low end, his reputation would have been. At the end that came out, he was brutally fucking murdered. Yes. Yeah. Now another one. After Malcolm X. Another one. Robert Kennedy. Robert Kennedy ran for president in 1968. And around this time, 1968 is probably the height of the 60s when it comes to just everybody coming over the fucking edge. Some little context, which we do in history, we forgot. Let's paint the scene for you. Vietnam is at an all-time high. A troop surge has just been ordered by Lyndon Johnson. Johnson does not run for re-election. In 1968, he bows out. He had every right to run for president because it was still under the purview that he could still serve a full term. He bows out because he doesn't want to be involved in Vietnam anymore. He doesn't want to be involved with the growing contention of his party, because at this time the turn is happening. Democrats are becoming more liberal. Your Dixiecrats are joining the Republican Party to be more conservative. Your Northern Republicans have now converted to conservatism. So now you have the big change. Yep. All right. Now we have our right-wing red state Republicans, and now we have our liberal blue Democrats. This is when it happens. Also, in 1968, the Democratic National Convention goes fucking haywire because cops decided to crack a few college kids' heads open, and some of those college kids said, "Fuck you, pig, I'm going to shove that nightstick up your fucking dick hole." And then a fight ensued. Because, taste the chain was the motto of 1968.
Yeah.
And so then you have the Chicago 7. Mm-hmm. A trial that is one of the most batshit fucking trials in American history, where they literally grab the only black plaintiff, get this, the only black defendant on the fucking dais was bound to a chair. This is 1968. Bound to a chair with the bag around his fucking head with tape over his mouth because the judge was fucking batshit and asked him where his counsel was. His counsel, his lawyer, was murdered the night before. So he had to go to trial without a lawyer. He tried to tell the judge that. The lawyer's like, "You're being disobedient. You need to shut the fuck up." But he kept asking him questions, and he tried to answer, and he didn't tell him to shut the fuck up. So eventually the judge says, "I'm going to shut you up." And they take him to a back room, tie his ass up, hog time basically, put something in his mouth, tape it shut, and bring him back out. The courtroom, even the prosecutors are like, "What in the blue fuck are you doing? You cannot take a defendant and literally gag them in a courtroom." Mm-hmm. But it happened, because when people say, "Oh, you just can't do that," is bullshit. If you tell me, "Oh, I can't just pop a round off in this room," I'm just like, I shouldn't,
but I can. There is nothing physically stopping me from doing so just my morals.
When I pull out this gun and try to tell you about the New Hope in the Empire movie, like, when I start popping rounds off, it's more of, Chris shouldn't have done that, but he sure as fuck did it, didn't he?
He could.
Changing hearts and minds.
And then followed with, "Please stop."
But with that being said, that is the 60s. You have the hippies with Woodstock. You have the constant civil rights protests. You have the SDS, a hippie terrorist organization, building bombs and blowing themselves up because they're dumber than shit. Because why? They're hippies. Hippies are the worst thing that's happened to America since the Pilgrims. They're disgusting people. All right,
I can't disagree.
That's a personal belief of mine. I cannot abide hippies.
Well, you got the looks now.
Yeah, I cannot abide them at all. I get it. Love one another. Yeah, Jesus said that. but maybe you should shut the fuck up about it all the goddamn
And
time.
take a shower.
Yeah, that's another thing. Ted Nugent is another fucking hippie that got away with a lot of hippie bullshit and is now somehow a Republican because of it. Because he didn't take a bath for 30 days so he can get out of Vietnam. He's no better than Clinton. All right, let's go ahead and clear the fucking room of people who should have been assassinated. Wrong 2 Beatles died. There's a fact. Yeah, Ringo Starr probably should have took one in the fucking dome.
What did Ringo ever do?
The worst drummer in the band.
So...
I will say that when you look at Ringo and like the Abbey Road, it's like he's the only one that showed up to work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, where's your shoes, asshole? And he's just like, I wore a suit and I have nice shoes because I care about my appearance.
And
George
Lennon's over here
Harrison's wearing a
barefooted.
Canadian tuxedo. Lennon can't be bothered to wear shoes, and Paul McCartney's over here bitching with this one.
I'd be bitching too.
With this, well, he's a clone, so he's not real. So I'd be bitching too if I wasn't getting full salary for being the fake Paul McCartney.
Fall.
Yeah, the fall. But with context of it, there's so much more we're not going to cover. But like, there's so much more going on. But think about the start of the '60s. JFK's dead. Medgar Evers is dead. Okay? The latter '60s. Robert Kennedy is murdered by Sirhan Sirhan in a fucking kitchen. How did that happen? You're surrounded by guys that are supposed to take a fucking bullet for you. And this little midget man somehow went, gotcha, and put 2 in his fucking stomach. I will say this. The Kennedys seem to have a weakness against bullets. A natural weakness against bullets. Like, that's their kryptonite. That and planes. Like, something about planes and bullets really fuck them in the ass.
I mean, I would imagine anyone.
Nah, there seem to be... I've seen, like...
Maybe they're just magnetized.
Nah, we've heard gangsters get shot all the time, and they live. We see...
50 Cent.
Yeah. 50 Cent got shot like 7 fucking times, and he's perfectly fine. But Robert Kennedy's frail Boston ass got shot twice in the fucking stomach, and his... And his shit fuck Irish Constitution let him bleed out all over the goddamn kitchen.
I had the most awful thought. You're talking about they can't handle bullets, and I'm like, yeah, but some of them can't drive cars without getting them into ponds and rivers.
Well, the thing is, when you drive a car that fast, sometimes you forget the bitches in the car. I'm just saying. All right.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about the pantheon of the 10 fucking Kennedy kids, 1 dies in a plane crash, 2 get shot to fucking death. 1 creates the Special Olympics. She's on the up and up.
Yes.
1 gets lobotomized by her goddamn daddy because why?
Girl.
No, she regressed because she had a mental illness, and she may have liked ladies.
And she was a girl.
She regressed. She had fucking fits. All right, she did have a mental illness. But guess what? She outlived them all, except for Ted. Rosemary Kennedy, which I'll cover later in a horrific episode about lobotomies,
Yeah, we'll have to put a trigger warning on that one.
lived a long time.
Yes.
That's fascinating. Just talk about the Kennedys for a second. That's fascinating. That this lobotomized woman lived so long, just hanging out in the back of cars and just not getting shot in the fucking head. It's fascinating. She lived to be like 80 something. It's fucking crazy. But another one is Robert Kennedy isn't so much a conspiracy as it is a lack of protection.
Yeah.
So Sirhan Sirhan enters the hotel.
Sirhan squared.
Yeah, Sirhan squared. He does have one of the most fantastical lines in all of history. Robert Kennedy is shot dead. Done. He's done. Mm-hmm. It paves the way for Richard Nixon basically to become president. Sirhan Sirhan says, after he's captured, he said, if Robert Kennedy was alive, he'd let me go. I don't know what kind of aneurysm he had while he was getting his shit kicked in by the police when they put the cuffs on him and were whooping his ass all the way to the car. That part of his brain said that out loud. If Robert Kennedy was alive, he'd turn me loose. No, he wouldn't. But guess what? He's fucking dead, ain't he? I digress. But talking about like just crazy fucking things that are happening. In 1968, guess what else happens? Martin Luther King gets killed in Memphis. And this is where a real conspiracy is formed. All right. So, what if I told you a man was shot on a balcony? Years later, the man who's in prison for shooting him, the victim's wife believes the shooter wasn't the shooter, sues the government and wins to prove he didn't fucking do it, and the guy still died in prison. That sounds fucking batshit, don't it? If I'm talking about regular goddamn people, right?
Yeah.
But now, no, I'm talking about a guy who's accused of killing Martin Luther King on a balcony in fucking Memphis, Tennessee. Granted, probably a shithole. I know a few people outside there. They're good people. A couple people from Nutbush. I know one or two. Good people. Good old Southern boys. Go Vols. Maybe a cryptid. But what in the blue fuck? How much do you have to drop the ball to shoot a man and then fuck it up after that? All you had to do was kill the guy that shot him. If I'm committing a conspiracy, I hire you to shoot person A. You've successfully done it. It's my job to kill you. Because now, one, I probably don't have to pay you.
Yep.
And two, I can't have you running your fucking mouth 30 years down the road where, hey, Morrison paid me to shoot guy A over here. I can't abide that.
Is it awful that I'm getting ready to make this connection, but the Joker did it at the beginning of The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Yep. Get rid of all the witnesses. No one fucking talk. I just watched that the other day too. So
They're fantastic movies.
I bet so-and-so told you to. I bet the Joker told you to take me out when he was done with such and such. No, I kill the bus driver. What bus driver? Yeah.
But what's crazy is, that's not far off on how conspiracies get got.
Yeah.
One conspiracy involving the precursor to the Holocaust, the Eisengruppen soldiers who were shooting civilians in Latvia and Estonia and all that. Well, guess what? They were next on the fucking chopping block.
Yep.
As much as the Nazis were going to kill the Jewish people, guess who was next? The German soldiers who killed all those people. They were next. They didn't know it was coming, but somebody had it written down in their little book, like, who's next? Like, because they were technically industrialized enough they were about to be done.
yeah.
With their little solution. So they were very close. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if I kill the guy I hire, is a crime committed? Right? It's like let's say Oswald. I hire Oswald to kill Kennedy. I hire Jack Ruby to shoot that motherfucker. Jack Ruby goes to prison. Guess what? He's not allowed. He goes to prison so goddamn fast. He's found guilty that he can't testify now during the Warren Commission that's investigating the murder of JFK because they wanted to shut it the fuck down.
Well, now, Chris, they did that because they wanted to spare Jackie Kennedy from having to get up there.
I probably wouldn't have brought her on the stand just because of all the blood and guts probably still in her hair. I'm just saying.
Pantene was a thing.
It probably was.
Oh, get real now. Pantene wouldn't have helped. That would have had to be mane and tail, honey.
What gets my husband's memories out of my hair?
Whoa!
It really washes away the cognitive ability of the frontal lobe out of my bangs.
Man, this shampoo was mind blowing.
You're laughing, so it's fun. You're all goddamn monsters. That's what you are. I'm not even been drinking yet. I would have said so much more worse shit. But when you have people like Martin Luther King, and here's what I think is fascinating. Embedded in the group of Martin Luther King was a security official. This man worked for the FBI. The FBI actively tried to ruin Martin Luther King's life. One of the funny things we hear about growing up is like people telling people to go kill themselves. Like internet trolls. Why don't you just go kill your fucking self? You know who's really good at that? J. Edgar Hoover, the head of the FBI.
Yep.
He would get people to write to Martin Luther King, we know you cheated on your wife. You're not on the up and up. You're just a fucking hypocrite. You should probably kill yourself.
They did that to Malcolm X too.
What kind of fucking troll would do that? Oh, wait. A cross-dressing maniac who runs the FBI. J. Edgar fucking Hoover.
Who doesn't have the ability to get to you any other way.
Yeah, because he's fucking dumb. He probably killed Amelia Earhart. I have a story about that because they found her plane. But
yeah, I know they found her plane.
Yeah, everybody thought she was eaten by the Japanese, but we all know the truth. She was shot down by the FBI. I digress. That's another episode. That's like episode 118 or some shit. When we get there.
She's probably sabotaged by Charles Lindbergh.
Probably. We will never know because the Japanese ate her.
Or the sharks.
Probably the sharks.
Yeah,
that makes more sense.
Sharks make sense.
Yeah, not the Japanese who are cannibals.
Sharks got a shark.
I'm pretty sure the Japanese are cannibals though. Or is that the other way around?
Stop it.
Is that the other way around? White people are cannibals.
Yes.
Yeah. Plump tuckered with them. I will say this.
Plump tuckered with them.
I will say this. A lot of cannibals are crackers. Just say it.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
The Donner Party. The Big D.
The Big D.
So Martin Luther King has an FBI security with him. 3 things happened that facilitated his murder. And these are the facts. He's staying at the Lorraine Hotel in Memphis. He has stayed here multiple times. His room that he usually stays at is on the ground floor facing a wall. Instead, the booking changed and he was put on the second floor facing the road. Okay. 2 blocks south is an FBI forward operating base with surveillance equipment. And guess who's number 1 on the fucking surveillance watch list? Martin Luther fucking King.
Number 2.
In Memphis, he's number 1.
Yeah. I say number 2 in the world.
Yeah.
Number 1 is Elijah Muhammad.
So,
for good reason.
So he stands out on the balcony. Across the street is a halfway house. Mm-hmm. Where? Who's staying there?
James Earl Ray.
James Earl Ray. James Earl Ray was said to be a vehement racist. And that's why he killed Martin Luther King.
Yep.
It doesn't help that the fact that at one point he was engaged to a black woman. That didn't help the case.
Maybe he wasn't racist then, but
Yeah.
maybe after the fact, that kind of
It just changed his mind.
it kind of teetered the scale.
Yeah. I was pulling for the Packers. She pulled for the Chiefs. I just really got pissed off and we got divorced.
Said some words.
So the reason he's in this halfway house is he is recently released from jail. That's the point of a halfway house.
Mm-hmm.
Halfway there.
Facing the motel is a bathroom window. The story is James Earl Ray gets a rifle, posts up in the bathtub of the bathroom, opens the window, sees Martin Luther King come out, and shoots him in the neck. Martin Luther King died before he hit the ground. Mm-hmm. There was no saving him. 2 things. 1, there was a large tree between the halfway house and Martin Luther King. There's no way he could have made that shot. Second, his security is taken away by the FBI because they call the security guy, the black FBI agent, and tell him, your family's been threatened, you need to come in. So now, the guy that's supposed to be checking, everything for Martin Luther King, who is a target, because who else has died? Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, JFK, any other fucking civil rights leaders?
Malcolm X,
Mississippi,
Bobby Kennedy.
The 3 boys from Mississippi burning were brutally,
Goodman, Cheney, and Schwerner.
all dead. So yeah, my security guy needs to be here. Martin Luther King decides to walk outside. Why, we will never know. 2 shots rang out. That's what's been that's the testimony. I would argue it's 1. And it's an echo. I've shot guns enough to hear an echo to know that how many bullets I fire and how many sound that got fired can really scare the shit out of some people.
Oh, yeah.
If you shoot fast enough to, it can sound automatic, which really scares the fuck out of people.
Absolutely.
So the story is he shoots him, takes his rifle, gets in a car, hauls ass, gets pulled over, found out, much like Timothy McVeigh, and is arrested. While he's being arrested and the scene is being taken care of, he's considered dead at the scene. They bag him up. Well, something's happening while they're bagging his ass up. Someone's cutting down the tree between the hotel and the halfway house. Firemen, aided with policemen of the Memphis Police Department, are cutting this goddamn tree down. Now, why would, as a police officer and a couple of firemen, happen to be cutting a tree down when the leader of the largest civil rights group, who's here to be part of an activist thing to unionize garbage men, who's on the news every day just about, who's laying dead on a balcony, why would you decide maybe it's a good time to cut the tree down? That seems kind of fucked up, don't it?
A little strange.
Yeah, maybe it's because the fucking government killed him. See? You see how that sounds? It sounds a lot more better than this guy who may or may not be a fucking racist, who just got out of jail and somehow got a rifle, killed him by happenstance. Okay? Another thing what adds to the conspiracy, this is the circumstantial evidence, along with the tree cutting. That can be circumstantial evidence. Oh, it was scheduled to be cut down. Okay, I'll let that go. The FBI not noticing a criminal next door in the building, fleeing the scene and not going after him immediately. I'll let that go. I'll let go the fact that the hotel owner had ties to the Chicago Mafia, who had ties to the federal fucking government to do nasty shit for the federal fucking government.
Let it go.
I'll let it go. I'll let it go. I'm not going to pull out the fact that the FBI have used mobsters who are murderers to interrogate Southern sheriffs about where to find 3 dead civil rights workers. I'll let it go. I'll let it all go. What I don't let go is, years later, after James Earl Ray is in jail, the United States government agrees on a special committee on assassinations, which is batshit insane.
Yes.
Says, yeah, he probably didn't fucking do it. But he's in prison, so.
Oh, well.
Whoopsies.
Oopsie daisies. Everywhere.
I think that's going to be the title of this episode. Oopsie daisies.
The tale of the 60s. Oh, hamburgers, folks. Come on down and join us on this new episode of Cryptic Conspiracy Cult, where we're all going to just talk about how the government loves to murder people. Yeah. But when you talk about the government or the man, who are you really talking about? Are you talking about the main guys in charge? Or are you talking about a cabal of certain people? You know, who wanted Martin?
Such a great word, a cabal.
Oh man, it's right up there with Chris's Bazaar.
Yeah.
Chris's Bazaar. A new podcast coming in the future in 2026.
Well, I don't give a fuck about anything anymore, and I'm willing to have everything get canceled.
So many cease and desist orders just piling up and making new wallpaper from my house. This one's from the CIA. Fuck them. I made copies with their address on them.
Oh my.
You're no longer a teacher because we're both in jail.
No, you be doing that on your own. I ain't lose my job.
She'll turn on me in a heartbeat. I know she would.
She'll rat you out.
Yeah, but he's got all that goddamn Play-Doh. See, it's in text.
I gotta have my job.
Just go look at his book collection.
But another, these are factual things that are used as circumstantial evidence in a conspiracy. Mm-hmm. Coretta King, the wife of Martin Luther King, fought and won against the federal government, saying he didn't die on the up and up. He was assassinated by someone working within the government, and they agreed. And she didn't go for money. She won $10. I think it was about $10, and she did it just to prove that she wasn't there for the money. She was there to prove that this man didn't kill my husband, but someone in the government knows who does, and that's what happened. That's one of the most blatant conspiracies of the 60s when we talk about assassinations. And what I think what I think it muddies the waters
Yeah.
for the more legitimate things people like Medgar Evers. You know, Bobby Chambliss. You know who Bobby Chambliss is? Bobby Chambliss is a North Carolinian who went to Georgia and blew up a church and then killed, 3 little girls?
Yep. He was the
Church
bombing
Bobby
Bobby
Chambliss.
Chambliss.
He was a KKK terrorist who was really good at making bombs, and he blew up a church, and it was one of the biggest events that happened. Right up there with Emmett Till.
Yep.
Right up there with the 3 dead civil rights workers.
Yep.
So like this is the environment the 60s is breeding.
Yes.
Open domestic terrorism. The only thing comparable to this is the 90s with open domestic terrorism. But we don't know whose side anyone's on in the 90s. That was the problem.
Yeah.
In the 60s, you had white supremacists and civil rights workers. Those were your 2 guidelines. If you look and read into the story of the 3 civil rights workers in Mississippi, the Mississippi burning story, basically.
Yes.
You can tell a whole town turns on the Klan because the Klan killed some white people, which is the biggest no-no.
Yep.
They ignored them killing black people, but God forbid you kill a white person.
And they killed 2.
Yeah. And so
You done fuckered up, boy.
the 2 FBI guys, Gene Hackman's character, brings a hard-hitting mafioso down there who's done work for the FBI before to shake up the Klan a little bit. One thing they do is they kidnap one of the motherfuckers and black bag his ass and throw him in the goddamn woods and whoop his ass a little bit, put a gun in his mouth, go click, click, and put bullets in the goddamn gun and put it back in his mouth and say, who killed them goddamn kids? And guess what he did? He told them. Because that's how you get shit done. You take him out in the woods, beat him with a rubber hose for a little bit. I'm not saying go full A Time to Kill or anything, but like I'm saying, like some people just need their ass whooped a little bit. Just say.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
That's why I keep my mouth shut enough. I don't want to get my ass beaten, and I know when to shut the fuck up.
Why are you looking at me when you say that?
Because I feel like I needed to earlier today.
Officer, I could not have robbed that bank. I was busy watching my friend Cristy beat a guy with a chancla.
He kept saying that Return of the Jedi was not a good movie.
Why you will say it again?
I don't think
You said it again saying that statement, motherfucker.
He said
I woke up with a microphone stand in my hand, and all of a sudden, I don't know what happened.
I don't know. They were arguing.
What is this red water dripping from my hands?
I don't know.
It's the blood of Christ. He said something about Sailor Moon was lesbian propaganda and something else. I forget. It was all a blur with Ewoks, Luke being a terrorist. It was a lot of conversation. Your Honor, I was high. I was high trying to watch Dragon Ball Z.
On PCP.
I was trying to watch Dragon Ball Z, the greatest anime of all time.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, these 2 chuckle fucks beat the shit out of each other with microphones.
I woke up with a microphone stand in my hand. I blacked out. I don't know.
There was no recording. I took it out. Or, no, the man took it.
All of a sudden, I'm thinking about don't be a menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
Yeah.
The man.
The man. I have extensive conversations with the guy at work about the man.
The man.
And I try to coax him to say the white man. He won't. He just refers to the government, which is an all-seeing, all-powerful organization full of dumbasses.
White people.
No, dumbasses. It's just filled with dumbasses as far as the eye can see. Anytime you watch a politician give an interview, they're fucking idiots. They're out-of-touch morons. The 2 guys running for president are out-of-touch morons. My biggest wish is they both die before November. Just to see what would happen.
Well, this podcast has power.
We have killed. We talked about anime, and one of the greatest anime artists died. So,
I'm still sad.
Just saying, focus your juju, hoodoo, voodoo bullshit into, I don't know.
Making our country a little bit of a better place.
Fuck it, why not? You can say it that way. Not a hellscape of indecision in left and right politics. Well, I'm just trying to work all
John
goddamn day.
Stewart's guiding us. It's okay.
Oh, he's getting backlash too. That fucking sucks. God, I hope he doesn't die. Jesus fuck. Take someone else like Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
Why you want to wish something bad on Jimmy Kimmel?
I don't know. He's out there.
He's a whiny little boy.
Alex Jones is killed by fake school shooters.
Called actors.
Crisis shooters. But folks, this has been a fun little dive into the conspiracy. Check out anything in the 60s. I'll tell you what, it is batshit insane.
Yes, it is.
Batshit insane, I tell you what.
This is Casey Kasem with the greatest top 40. Hell yeah.
Yay!
This goes out to you, Lee Harvey Oswald. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. All right, folks, check out all the other good shows on the Something Good Network. We got merch on the store. We'll link it in the description. Check out all the other great shows. We got This Fucking Guy with Dante and Mikey. We got Something Good For You with Mr. Alex Stiff. Check out our Crouch Potatoes, where we have a 2-hour-long argument about Ewoks and other Star Wars bullshit.
And, of course, History We Forgot.
Oh, yeah. That one too. Well, it's not all this conjecture bullshit where we give you the facts and not the facts that the government is watching you and to kill your civil rights leaders and destroy your rights and bring this country into a degradation of destruction. And yeah. I just don't want to black out there for a minute. Don't want to black out.
Pause.
I don't want to black out for a minute and count how many bullets I got in my fucking car, No, don't do that. I got to make it back to town.
Yeah, you got a passenger.
Yeah. Back in the saddle again, I tell you what. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. Thank you, Cristy. Thank you, Alex.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Again, everybody, check out your own goddamn conspiracies. Find your own fucking answers. And we got something special with the cryptids coming up with Mr. Mikey Black.
It's going to be awesome.
I fucking hope so. I hope we're not drunk and high this time. Like we're making fucking video content.
Hopeless.
You've been listening to the Something Good Network. If you liked what you heard, you can follow us on Instagram and check out the other great shows on the network. Link is in the episode description.